Hey everyone, it is Dave. Welcome in. It's time to talk about module number 10. This module is pretty easy. So we have just one lecture, which is on painting, and then we have a documentary. So similar to the Terry film that we saw earlier in the semester, this documentary centers around two individuals, Herb and Dorothy, and back in the 1950s and 60s, they collected art, and they lived in New York. All their friends were artists, and most of them became famous. So Herb and Dorothy are still living in this one-bedroom apartment, but they're surrounded by about $30 million worth of art. It's minimalist art. So we also get to learn about what type of art that is. So we've got a reply to the Art Theft discussion board and the journal this week. Let's head over to the Canvas site. I'll walk you through this module. All right, here we are on Canvas. We're going to be taking a look at Module 10. And for Module 10, we've got our usual stuff at the top, our video, action plan, and a link to my office hours every Monday and Wednesday, 4:30 to 7. We just have one lecture this week, which is on painting. Our study guide, and then the further exploration section just has one video, because I always thought watercolor was such a cool medium within painting. This is just kind of a really quick demo on how to create paintings in watercolor. Instead of another lecture this week, we've got a documentary, and I already told you about what Herb and Dorothy was about, so we're just going to make sure that the video loads here, since we had problems with Canvas earlier last week, and it does. This is actually not Herb and Dorothy, this is Christo and Jean-Claude. The best thing about this documentary is that we get to see the actual artists who created the work, and they actually get to talk about, the time period in which they were working. So it's really a great time capsule, if you will. We've got a movie guide underneath that. That, of course, will be our journal for the week. For the further exploration section, we've got the sequel, just a trailer to the sequel of Herb and Dorothy. Herb did, unfortunately, pass away just after the film was completed. And then the sequel continues on with their gift giving of their art. Don't forget to create a reply to the discussion board that was back down here in Module 9. And for Module 10, once again, we're just doing the movie guide. And I did want to point out a couple of things on the movie guide. First of all, you'll probably have a lot for Herb and Dorothy, and very little for any of the other artists. There might be a couple where we do Chuck Close or Christo, that they get more screen time than the others. But most importantly, of course, is your reply to the questions. What were the Vogels' rules in terms of them buying art? How was the Vogels' approach in building their art collection? You want to reference scenes from the documentary. What did their art collection say about them? Why was art so powerful in their lives? What did the Vogels do with their art collection at the end of the film? Things like that. So that is the journal entry for that week. And that is everything for Module 10. I'll be back shortly, of course, to tell you about Module 11.